so magnificently.
Hi, and welcome back to Talk Up Your Biz. I'm Jean Noel Bassior with my co-host today, Deborah Kagan.
Hey, everybody.
Hey. And we've got Linda Salazar here between us. And she has worked on, I like your intro. For decades, you have worked on film and television sets through thousands of pressure cooker situations, surrounded by very talented and extremely temperamental performers, directors, and crew members. Having done celebrity interviews for many years, I know what you mean.
Yeah, you get it.
I get it. But this is how you honed your coaching skills.
It is indeed. Thank you.
And you are an in-demand speaker and author, relationship coach, and certified scientific hand analyst, which we are going to talk about quite a bit. And you help women create fulfilling relationships and lives through your coaching and specialized programs. You've been on KCAL Channel 9 here locally in Los Angeles and featured in the LA Times and Parent Magazine, and you're the author of Awaken the Genie Within.
Correct. You got
Welcome.
it all right. Thank you. It's great
So
to be here.
I'm going to ask you the question now that people used to ask me, because in the dark ages, as you know, I used to do palmistry when it was called that.
Yep.
But the question, whether we call it scientific hand analysis or palmistry or whatever, I'm sure you know what the question is. How can your hands possibly reflect in anything about your being, your personality? So do you get asked that a lot?
I get asked that all the time.
Yeah.
I get
how
asked
is
these
this
questions,
possible?
so you're like a gypsy reader.
Yeah, exactly.
Not quite. Well, let me first say what this is not.
Yes.
So I really clear that up here. It is not about predicting the future. I'm not going to tell people how many kids they're going to have, if they're going to get married, if they're going to get divorced, when they're going to come into that fortune they're hoping for.
And we used to say, if you looked here,
you could tell how many kids. Yeah. I don't do
that
any
was
of
how many kids.
Yeah, exactly. No, the hands are literally a window into our inner world, into our soul, if you will. They reveal our characteristics, our personality traits, our gift markings, our conflicts, our inner turmoil. I can determine somebody's emotional style, which is their heart and how they want to be in relationships. I can determine from their headline, their thinking style, their innate thinking style. Do they think quickly on their feet, or do they make decisions quickly?
Now, I know that this, and it works out, and it's true, and it matches, but how do you think that these lines and the shape actually reflect?
Okay, so the hands are a map, if you will, of the major neural pathways of the brain processing. So, for instance, as we change our thinking, if you will, at a deep cellular level, so can some of this information in the hands.
Because the hands reflect the brain, right?
The hands are reflecting what's going on in our brains. And I have seen people's lines changed based on what is going on in their own personal life, whether it's been a tragic event and they've moved beyond that tragic event, and then lines have gone away, the hand has calmed down. It was fascinating to me to see that, because that was one way of me knowing empirically that this brain of ours is actually reflecting in our hands. But there is a place of the hands that never, ever changes. And this is where, people can look at you and go, now, wait a minute there. And it's the fingerprints. Because the fingerprints are created 5 months before you're born. And they never, ever change. And they're what's considered holding your soul's agenda.
But they do reflect personality types, don't they?
They reflect your life purpose, your life lessons, and something called your life school, which is how you filter the world, how you're moving through the world in your day-to-day life, and how you're taking it in and walking your path. So that's very specific with those fingerprints of determining. Those personality traits and characteristic traits and those strengths and the weaknesses and those dilemmas and the challenges that we have are all showing up in the rest of the hand. So when you're taking that piece of the hand that you're looking at in the palm of the hand and the length of the finger and the width of the finger and the weaknesses of the finger, if it's shrunken, if one particular zone of the finger is much larger than another zone, you take all this into consideration and apply what the soul's agenda came here to master in this lifetime. Now that could be getting a little woo-woo, but I will tell you from my own personal experience and all the hands that I have read, it is the response you get back from people going, oh my gosh, this is so true about me. And suddenly what was once a challenge for somebody, what was once an inner turmoil that was going on inside of them, is having the opportunity to be cleared up, because they now know what their specific life lesson is, and
they're
why,
on the right track.
Well, why they keep getting stuck.
I see. Yeah.
You know,
And
go
then,
ahead,
yeah,
Dory.
this is so fascinating to me because, I love information, and so when you can show somebody what their purpose is, and all these other bits, is it they start to then find a new way to be with themselves?
Absolutely.
In a way? Is that
I
in
love that
essence?
question. Thank you for asking that, because it is an opportunity for people to feel so witnessed in their life, perhaps for the first time. And now they're seeing themselves and they're expressing that, oh my God, I'm not crazy. There's really nothing wrong with me. I just have these aspects of myself that need shoring up, if you will, whatever weakness may be coming. We've all got our weaknesses. And when you can pinpoint areas that are a little weak and pinpoint their strengths and teach them how they can shore up those weaknesses and then apply into their life the strengths, their life takes a complete turn. It's magnificent to watch people's ahas come to be when they start to hear certain aspects about themselves that they knew at a deep level, but they never knew how to explain it, how to talk about it, how to reach out to even ask for help around it.
I love this. It seems like a way also that people can value themselves
Absolutely.
more, and we need so much more of that in today's
gosh, don't
culture.
we?
So
Absolutely.
I think what you're doing is really, really helpful.
It's such an intimate way to connect with yourself through your
Oh,
hands,
boy.
isn't it?
I mean, if there's anything that has taught me more about me and the massive changes that I've gone through in my own life, it has happened because of my study, first from my own hand analysis reading from someone, and then of my study of it, because it is a requirement, as far as I'm concerned, to be willing to take what I'm learning about myself, in particular my life lessons, and then start utilizing and working with those lessons in my life and becoming so aware of how I operate and where I can make changes in order to then be able to really serve others.
Talk about one of your clients. Do you have a story for us of a client who...
I have so many stories.
Yeah, pick what one surprised you the most?
Well, I don't know that anyone necessarily surprises me the most.
Or touched you the most?
Touched me, there's a lot of those. And I'm going to talk about a relationship one, since I love relationship work. And it was a woman that came to me that was struggling in her marriage after a very long time. They had gone to therapy together, and it just wasn't doing the trick. And I said, well, what is it that you're most struggling with? And she said, well, I don't get any real connection from him. I don't feel this love. I feel like we're just kind of going through the motions and there's nothing there anymore. And I need somebody to really connect with me. Now, I'm looking at her hands and I see that she has what's called a big heart. A big heart is somebody who does need a lot of connection, and they want to hear verbally that they're appreciated and they're loved and they look good and they're pretty and anything else that just makes them feel connected.
And what did you see in her hands? What does that
It was
look
her
like?
heart line, which the heart line
yeah.
is at the top of the palm, and it starts underneath which camera? Where can I show that in the... there we are. Hello. It starts underneath the pinky finger, and it travels across the hand, and it can end anywhere from the middle finger all the way over to this index finger. It can be straight or it can be curved. The more straight a line is in the hand, whether it's the heart line or any other lines, the less emotions they're going to show outwardly. The more curving it has, the more they're willing to show their emotions outwardly. So I knew that she had a big heart because that heart line travels from underneath the pinky and travels all the way up over to this index finger here. And as she, knowing what a big heart is, this nurturing, caring, loving, put your head on their shoulder and they're just going to put their arm around you and listen to you and be empathetic. And they love the connection. They're going to have Thanksgiving at their house. They want to bring family together. They want to connect people and bring friends together. But they need that. That's how they want to be loved, and that's how they show their love. So I asked her to just tell me a little bit about her husband. And she shared with me that he doesn't ever express himself in a loving way, and he barely touches her, and he goes to work, and then he comes home, and he wants to go into his office and work some more, and maybe they'll spend a little bit of time at dinner. And I'm hearing this work, and I'm thinking he just might be the hermit type. And that is somebody where work is a non-negotiable, freedom is a non-negotiable. They will keep their feelings close to their chest, but they will show their love by the things they do for you. So I said to her, instead of telling me all these negatives about him, share with me what is good about him. And she said, well, he'll wash my car. Well, she started making this list. He'll wash my car, and he'll make me breakfast sometimes and bring it to me in bed. And he makes wonderful dinners, and he's really good help cleaning around the house. And he'll put gas in my car. And I'm thinking,
Send him over.
Yeah, right. That's exactly what I thought.
No disrespect to my sweetheart.
Of course,
sorry.
I understand. And none to my husband. I thought, what's the complaint here? So I said, okay, what I think we have here is a hermit. Can't be know for sure. I said, so tell me, in terms of his work, does he is coming home and he works a lot, and yet he still needs to go and spend a lot of time by himself, correct? She said, yes. I said, is he loyal? Can you count on him in an emergency? Is he stoic? And she said, yeah, he's all of those things. I said, you got a hermit on your hand. And I described for her to look at what his heart line is so that she could really clearly determine that. So I said, here's what you're going to do. For the next week, I want you to, number one, shower him with gratitude and appreciation for all the things he has done for you and continues to do, because he's showing his love by all those things he's doing for you. And that was a big aha for her. And it actually made her start to cry, because she wasn't thanking him. She was annoyed with him. She just focused on the fact that he wouldn't touch her and hug her and hold her. And I said, then you're going to invite him to just sit with you on the couch for a minute or two. And you're going to tell him, it's okay, I just need a minute or two of your time. I want to talk to you about my day and hear a little bit about your day. And I want you to hold his hand. And then I want you to tell him he's free to go, because you don't want him to feel trapped. Key words for a hermit. Freedom and not to feel trapped. Right. And to be able to go do your work. Making this long story as short as I can, bottom line is I said, check back with me. We talked about a few other things that she could do. And I said, check back with me in about a week and let me know how it's going. 4 days later, I get a call. This relationship has done a 180.
Really?
He is suddenly now, not suddenly, but like into day 3, he's sitting on the couch with her arm around her, holding her, hugging her, telling her how much he loves her, and watching a 2-hour movie with her. I said, this is what happens, though, when you know how to love somebody the way they want to be loved, and you're appreciating him for his love towards you, and they are just in a whole new space.
Oh, that's beautiful. And the hand kind of confirmed it, right?
It did. And I want to be very clear here also, is that that's one marking in the hand, the heart line. And so we looked at other aspects of her hand to see where there could be some struggles and conflict and turmoil inside, and worked on that a little bit. But I'm telling you, just that one line.
The basic ones, the heart, the head, and the lifeline,
Correct.
right? But and then there are all, when in your work, do you deal with all those other, there's so many, there's squares and there's, all
squares
kinds of
and diamonds and circles.
Right.
Yeah, you don't want to overwhelm people, because the truth of the matter is you could read a hand for days.
Right, but you do
juicy
actually,
one.
when you look at a hand, do you you take note of all that, right?
Everything. I get, generally what I will do is get handprints from people. So I will work with people all over the world. The furthest one I've had is Malaysia. And they take a print of their hands and then they send it back to me. And I will study it. I'll give myself a little bit of time. I like to just kind of get into the energy of the hand, if you will, and really get the essence of everything that's going. And then just kind of pick 3 segments that are telling me a story. I want to know what what's called in hand analysis, their delicious dilemma is, so that I can then focus on just a few things so that we can start to break open where they're most struggling.
I love that languaging. That's so my language. Delicious dilemma.
That sounds like
great.
It's like mojo-liciousness. So I have a technical question.
Yeah.
So which hand do you focus on, and are
Good
the
question.
lines on hands the same?
No, not necessarily.
Okay.
What we were taught in palmistry was I'll let you explain it, but
Right
one was
hand
your
being
life.
the right hand being your outer world hand.
Depending on whether you were right-handed or
Right.
left-handed.
Well, there's absolutely a little bit of controversy around this, but what I am learning and have learned actually, we're looking at this now as the right hand is the outer world hand, how you present yourself to the outer world. It's what you shake with, and your left hand is your personal at home in life in your slippers. Now, if the left hand is put together much better than the right hand, we're using that as your outer world hand. So you can have 2 different heart lines. You can have a different heart line in your inner world and a different heart line on your outer world. I have 4 heart lines on my right hand.
You do?
So I can literally
4?
shift. Yeah, all 4. There's 4 main heart lines. I can shift between different emotional styles depending who I'm with. But I have to be careful so that I don't ignore my innate emotional style in
Right.
that moment that I'm most authentically connected
So what's the
to.
heart line like on your left hand?
It's a passionate, goes up to my, it's a passionate going up to my middle finger, but starting to head over to my index finger, which wants to play the role of the big heart.
Right.
So I now that I know that, I try not to necessarily squash my passionate self, which is vivacious and gregarious and loves to have fun and be bright and energetic.
So this work
Yeah.
has changed you.
Oh, it has just allowed me to be exactly who I am and not be afraid of it and not worry about what other people think about it. Because I just then, as we're talking about that authentic piece of us, then we bring more of that into our life in the world.
Well, it's so great. It's like the blueprint of who we are.
100%.
Yeah,
Yeah, beautiful.
exactly.
Yeah.
And how can people get in touch with you?
They can go to my website at www.yourheartisinyourhands.com or linda@yourheartisinyourhands.com.
Yourheartisinyourhands.com.
Right.
Okay, that's
Website
easy
and
to
email.
remember.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for being here.
Oh, thank you. It's been so much fun. Thank you both.